Hi, I'm Ashley with the Valley Film Festival, and I'm here with the film Amy's Gift of the 2020 selection of the festival. We're here with Dianne Rosenberg, writer, director, producer, and Dianne Farrington, director of photography. So thanks for being here. This film is a wonderful Christmas LA piece about a woman who gets into a fender bender with somebody, and then there's a lot more that unfolds after that. So tell me a little bit about yourselves. Dianne, we'll start with you, and you can tell me about your history in film and how this project came to life.
Well, let's see. I grew up in Princeton, New Jersey, and after college, I moved to New York and started working at Playwrights Horizons, which is an off-Broadway theater. And from there, I started working in film. Originally, I was a singer, so I was always interested in music. And once I started working in film in New York, I really discovered that I wanted to be a filmmaker and tell stories. Last year, the Directors Guild selected me as one of their mentored television directors. And we all sat around a room together and were asked why we wanted to make stories, why we wanted to make films. And I realized that one of my best experiences working in movies, I've been a first assistant director for many years on movies and television. One of the things I love about working in film is the opportunity to connect with people from different worlds and to create greater understanding and compassion for mankind amongst people who you wouldn't necessarily come to meet or come to pass in your everyday life. So I wanted to make films that connected people and also that moved people and brought them closer together in their hearts. So I got the idea to make this short film, Amy's Gift. My yoga teacher, Amy, told a story in class based on the book Zen and the Art of Happiness about a man who buys a flashy new car and is all excited about driving, and he goes out and gets into a fender bender with an immigrant that he doesn't know, who's obviously a man of little means. And he says to himself, well, I can either decide to be angry and upset about this incident, or I can just see it as an opportunity for a deeper experience. And sure enough, he decides on the latter course and ends up becoming lifelong friends with this man that hit his car. And the idea is basically that sometimes through something inconvenient or negative, an opportunity or a greater chance of understanding can arise. So then we came up with the story of a woman who had been devastated by grief and could only hang on to material objects, who actually found happiness through an incident similar to that. So.
Wow, thank you. That's really amazing. Dianne, tell us a little bit about you.
Oh, wow. I'm from New York also, and I grew up loving film. I think the first film I went to see was as a 3-year-old. It had Sidney Poitier in it, and it was a great film. And I still, as a 3-year-old, I'm really impressed that I have such a great memory of the film. But I spent my life, I've spent my life sharing film with others. And I like the idea of telling stories. My mother's a great, with a capital G, great storyteller. I mean, great storyteller.
I can attest to that.
Yeah, and so she told me about books, and I read books, and some of the books were made into films, like Rebecca, which is one of my favorite films. And so when I went to school, I studied art, and one day someone asked me to come to the radio station, and I saw what they were doing in the radio station. I loved that, and that same person asked me to work on a telethon, and I started working at a television station. And from there I went, wow, this is great. I love this. And I learned to run camera, and my uncle's a photographer, and he had brought me on some of the shoots that he had done. So that just married, and between television and photography, I found cinematography, and then I found Drew.
Well, yeah, how did you two meet?
We met years ago. I made a little short film called The Dog People, which was a satire about war. It was a story of a beach town where the dog owners and the non-dog owners went to war against each other. And our friend who shot the film, Richard, what's Richard's
My roommate. My
Yeah.
former.
And he introduced me to Dianne because we had some news footage that we needed to shoot. And Dianne had at one point been a news photographer, among other things. And so that's how we met, and it was love at first sight. And I must tell you that Dianne knows more about film and watching movies and has watched every single movie you could possibly imagine than anyone I know. She is a great scholar of film, which is wonderful. And you can always ask her for references and things, and she'll always know what to say.
Thanks. That's amazing. Tell me why it was important for you to tell a female-driven story on screen. We'll start with you.
I've always gravitated toward female-driven stories. I've directed 3 features, and they've all had a female protagonist. And I mean, partly because I identify as being a female, and partly because their stories have been compelling to me and stories I wanted to tell. A woman suffering from grief and completely closed down, being exposed to a culture of people that she had never had any interaction with, who actually opened her heart and helped her to find joy in life again that she had lost a few years earlier. Just from a woman's standpoint, I think there's more of an emotional connection, and I think in some ways I feel like I'm able to dig deeper with a female character.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah. Dianne, what about you? What do you like about capturing female stories on screen?
That women are wonderful.
Yeah.
That women are absolutely fabulous. I think if we ruled the world, it'd be a different place. I'm just going to put it right out there.
I agree. I totally agree. Yeah.
I love my mother. I love her deeply. I love my female friends. I just think that we multitask and think on a better level. We think with our hearts and not with our what do you call it, our hormones. They like to think that we do, but we don't. I think that we're I think we're nurturing. I think women are nurturing. I think women are caring. I just think women are fabulous. And that's why I like to tell our stories.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. So how did this script develop, and what was pre-production like?
Well, I wrote the script originally. I got the idea from yoga, as I mentioned, and I wrote sort of a mediocre script. I don't fashion myself to be a great writer. And then I took the script to my friend Gigi Gaston, who's a great writer, and she sort of helped me get to a better place with it. I had shown Dianne all the different versions. Dianne has great instincts as a writer as well. And then once we kind of had a template of what we wanted, we did a lot of what we do together is visual. We also did a movie together called Sex and a Girl years ago. And what we like to do is storyboards with photographs, not drawings. So we spent a couple days going to locations and taking photos, and each playing the different character and kind of coming up with our ideas about how we wanted to shoot it. The one scene in the shower, which for me was a very important moment because it's the first time that you see that she's actually a vulnerable person who actually has deep feelings because she's been working so hard to hide that for so long. So we spent a lot of time crawling around. That's my bathroom that we shot it in. We spent a lot of time crawling around in that shower trying to figure out how to shoot it. And we didn't want to show nudity because it wasn't about that. So that was kind of a big part of the process. And also the design of what we wanted to do color-wise. We wanted it to be, we didn't want to beat you over the head with it, but we wanted to feel the coldness and the emptiness of her life before she found these beautiful people that opened her heart. So we sort of worked with that a bit as well.
Overall, like the story, you could just follow really quick. It went really quickly and the pacing was really nice, and just seeing how everything unfolded from seeing this woman who seems kind of like terrible and seems really awful to seeing the loss that she's been through, and to seeing this, like you said, this new family that just kind of opens her heart again. It was really cool. Tell me a little bit more about your filming locations and how you got your locations.
Good. It's funny you should ask. Well, first I wanted to mention that the star of our film, Danielle Savory, stars in Station 19.
Okay. Yeah.
and has a great role in that, and plays a very, well, not a very different character, but definitely a different personality. And then Goya Robles, who plays Snake, starred in Get Shorty for years too. So,
Wow.
and we found our young Alia España, our young daughter, through a wonderful organization called Creating Creators, which Goya has a connection to, and they actually work with young youth who want to get in the film business, not youth that necessarily have the means to go out and take classes and stuff. It's a great organization that
Yeah.
really fosters new talent. But in regards to what you said, the alleyway where the accident happens was a little bit tricky because in order to do that strictly by the up and up, you have to get permits. Technically, you should have police officers. It's a very expensive undertaking, and we couldn't afford to do that. So we basically let everybody know in the neighborhood that we were going to be there for a few hours. And I wanted to get it over with first because I didn't want to stress about the fact that we might get shut down and we might not be able to be there. So that alley was behind Gigi's house, my co-writer's house. And then Amy's house, the house that you see in the opening, is my house. And Dianne was referring to the windows because you have to shoot at the time of the day where the light outside the window and the light inside is relatively even. I mean, on big budget shows, you would just gel all the windows so that you can manipulate the light outside, but we didn't have the financial resources to do that. So we had to time it very carefully to be shooting at the right time of day. And then the office where she works was our producer Colin Frederick's office, where he works for Campfire Films, and they very graciously allowed us to shoot there on a Sunday. And let's see, Snake's house is my cousin's house. So we pulled a lot of favors. The artist studio is Griffin Loop, who's a wonderful metal sculptor. It took us a while to find that. We looked at a lot of different places, and our production designer, Valerie Green, who's amazing, she's now the production designer on the L Word. She actually found Griffin through some other art production designer friends, and he was great. He let us come in but we were only there for 2 hours. Everything was really tight.
Yeah.
But, we made it work.
That was a beautiful location to make your film really pop. And it also just, for the independent filmmaker, I think locations like that really increase your production like value, not necessarily value, but your experience, I guess. You know, they really bring it up to a different level, I guess, than just shooting in an apartment over the weekend, right? So if you have those multiple locations and so you see these nice houses, nice offices, nice, the unique, it was just really unique and really popped, I thought, the artist studio for sure. And it was really well woven into the storyline with the gentleman who said he told her he worked with metal, you know, he could fix her car. Yeah.
Right. Snake.
So what was it, you talked a little bit about the permitting for the street, but what was one of another biggest challenge in making this film?
Well, the second night we were filming, we ran out of time, and I had promised the actors that I wouldn't keep them over 12 hours. And just logistically, you know, there was a lot of people in one room. So we basically just, Dianne and our other camera operator, Bry, just threw the cameras over their shoulders, and I just said, let's just start shooting. And we just grabbed a bunch of stuff, and we're able to cut it together and make a sequence that actually works. Originally, when I wrote the script, when he gives her when the little girl gives her the necklace, it's not the very end, but then we recrafted it. And I worked with my editor, Susanna Banim, who's a wonderful editor, to make that sort of the climactic moment, which I think was actually much better. So a lot of times you end up rewriting the story in the editing room. And that was actually my husband, John Anderson, who came up with that idea, which was like, the minute he said it, I was like, no. Oh, you're so right. That's perfect.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the creative process happens in the editing room too. So, I mean, there were challenges like that, but overall, I think we had a pretty smooth production. What do you think, Dianne? I mean, it wasn't, nothing crazy happened, luckily. Oh, so I rented the Tesla from like a rental house. And at the end of the night, the first night, I'm exhausted. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to go home and go to sleep. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I got to go take the Tesla back. Because I had gotten it through a website. And so I had to like get in the car and drive the Tesla back. And the truck, we had a really hard time finding the truck. I couldn't find a truck that I wanted. I wanted something that looked a little beat up, that had character. So literally I was driving down the road one day and I saw the truck and I was like, that's it, that's Snake's truck. And the poor man who was driving it, lovely guy, Ronaldo, I got to know later on, I started following him and trying to flag him down. And here's this crazy lady trying to flag him down. And you thought, well, what is she doing? And finally he pulled over and I said, can I rent your truck for a day? It was very nice, but it didn't run very well. So when we were driving it from my house down to Venice, where we shot the alley scene, the red light and check engine came on. And I was thinking, oh no, we're not going to make it to the set. We're not going to be able to shoot. But
Oh my gosh.
it ended up working out, you know.
Wow. Yeah, those are great stories. Thank you.
Yeah.
Dianne, from a shooting perspective and from the picture perspective, any specific challenges you faced?
Sorry about that.
Okay.
You know what? I think that the most challenging part was getting the scene in the bathroom, being aware that the actress needed to be protected. And as Drew mentioned, the scene was about her sorrow. Rigging the camera, if you had, we didn't take pictures of that, we should have. That camera rigging was very interesting and precarious. It was high, it was a high angle, and getting it there, I have to thank the crew. We had a really great crew that came and helped us, and they were very amenable and helpful and imaginative and creative. And they got the camera up there so that we could operate, so that I could operate from that vantage point. The thing that you should note that Drew's doing a very good job of explaining the creativity and the imagination involved with making a film. And that's what makes it so much fun to me. I'm a creative person and I like the idea of being able to create something. It's art to me, and Drew has a really good eye. So do I. And I think
Dianne has an incredible eye. Beautiful.
we work really well together at times. we work wonderfully together. She's my best friend.
We're sisters, so we fight a bit too.
It really is an amazing,
You know what?
to have a producing partner, like a partner in independent film. It really is. I feel like as a female filmmaker, I have one of my producing partners and good friends. Like it takes a team. It takes a team, a whole crew of people. But to have that one extra person that really just that one person that just really balances you out and makes your film come alive is just crucial. I think it's always really important. People need to have a producing partner or a partner in crime. You know, there's some people that go at it that are just the writer, director, producer, editors, and you see that didn't really work. You know what I mean? If there's one person wearing all of those hats. So it's really nice. It's nice to meet a powerful female duo like you guys too. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. It's nice to have a kindred spirit. And you know what Drew was talking about, the film being made in the edit room. I also teach, and one of the mantras that we have is it's the film you write, it's the film you shoot, and then it's the film you edit.
Yeah.
So you make the film 3 times.
Yeah.
So that's definitely that. People should keep that in mind. It's not always what you put on the paper. It's like a puzzle. You shoot it, you try to get all the components and elements together. And then when you get into editing, that's where the film is going to be made. It's going to be made there.
True.
Yeah, Dianne teaches cinematography at USC, and her students are madly in love with her, because I met a few of them because they came to a set where I was first ADing. And I said, do you guys know Dianne Farrington? And they all just exploded with joy and wouldn't stop talking about it. She loves to inspire people. And she inspires me too, visually, over and over, and just story-wise. So I always really love that kind of process. And I think she knows the right questions to ask to kind of bring out those things that you need to be thinking about when you want to create a visual story and a visual image.
Yeah.
So that helps a lot.
It does.
Yeah.
We've talked about so much, and I know we could talk about so much more, but we're on a little bit of a deadline. Was there anything else you wanted to share about Amy's Gift?
What I really would like is for people to see this film and be moved by it, and also open their hearts and minds. I feel like right now in our world, in our country, there's so much animosity and so much tension between people of different groups, of different mindsets. And the message that I'm trying to give to people is if you give people a second chance, even though they might not appear to be similar or simpatico to your beliefs and your ideas, that oftentimes your hearts will find each other and you'll feel better and happier as a result.
So true. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ashley.
Anything else you wanted to share, Dianne?
You know what? I think the story to me is you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. I know that's cliche, but you know what? I think that I can say, you might meet me, but if you don't know me, you won't love me. So I'm like going, give yourself a chance to get to know me. Give yourself a chance to get to know Drew. Give yourself to get a chance to know people. And once you know what, you might be surprised by by what you find after you scratch the surface. There might be gold in there.
Yeah.
So come watch the film, Amy's Gift.
That's it.
One last question. What's next for you? Dianne, what's next for you? You teach at USC. Are you working on any other projects?
Yes, I just got offered a feature and I'm excited about that. So I'm like really, and it's not till March. So I have a lot of running room, a lot of prep room, and I have a lot of support. Drew, I have a great support system. So I'm looking forward to making this film and working with the people I'm going to be working with.
Great, thank you. And Drew, anything that's next for you?
Yeah, too many things at the moment, but it's a good problem to have. So I'm co-producing a movie for Gigi, my writing partner, and we're just about to start production on that. I'm first ADing on Grey's Anatomy. I'm attached to direct 3 other projects of my own that are in various stages of development features, and I hope to be directing more on episodic television. So that would be a nice transition for me. That's one thing I really haven't done much of. I've been an assistant director on a lot of television shows, but not a director. So I'm available.
Thanks so much, you two. I really appreciate you taking the time to be with us. It was really lovely to speak with you. I hope.
Thank you, Ashley.
Yeah, thank you.